So other than that perfect world, what would you like to see moving forward? What do they need to do to continue having good viewership, and what do we need to do to salvage the rest of the Call of Duty League season? Welcome back, Morky Mork, P2 Podcast, episode 9. I cannot believe we've already gone through 9 episodes.
It's weird. Like, I don't feel like we're at 9, but then again, I feel like we've done a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been derailed since we don't know what the Call of Duty League schedule is. I thought it was going well there for a while. Again,
Yeah.
we started the first podcast and we had no idea like what we were going to talk about or what we were going to do or how long we were going to do it for. We just thought we would give it a shot, and we've actually had some good feedback on it so far. So it's been fun.
Yeah. Been a lot of fun.
Yeah, P2 Podcast, episode 9. We're going to be talking about a couple different things. We want to kind of update again on like the Call of Duty League, where it's probably going to be heading, what our expectations are for it moving forward, as well as like other game updates. I mentioned I did a podcast this past week on Monday, and it was by myself. I mean, I just kind of wanted to talk real quick about channel updates, what we're going to do on the YouTube channel specifically. And I thought it was okay, but I'm only as good as player 2 himself.
I'm literally the content.
Oh my gosh. Whatever, dude. But all right, let's just dive into it.
Let's go.
I hope that everybody's quarantine is still going well. Hope you all are being safe, washing your hands, buying all of the toilet paper you can get your dirty little hands on. And obviously,
I feel like I've been wiping my booty with like printer paper.
oh yeah,
I'm about at that point.
I saw a Snapchat and it was like, this is what I was able to get my hands on, and it was like Korean toilet paper. It was like from a different country or something. It's crazy, man, but all of us gamers low-key kind of love the idea of having an excuse to be quarantined in their rooms.
I love it, let me tell. And school's online, bro. I'm about to have school, like lecture on here, like game.
Mark said, hold on, paper, I gotta beam this kid real quick. All right, type 2 more sentences and then one more game.
Hold on, prof. Hold that question. I gotta beam real quick.
Jeez. Too funny, but it couldn't... I don't want to say that, but it was kind of a weird timing thing because Warzone dropped and then everybody had to be quarantined. So there's been a ridiculous amount of Warzone players, which has been super cool to see. I mentioned
we're talking about right now.
Sure, we can talk about Warzone.
Let's go.
I want to pull up a tweet and hopefully let's hide this real quick. I don't want this. Oh
excuse me.
God, dude. Let's hide that real quick. I'm gonna pull up a post that Call of Duty did because it was kind of cool. It said we reached like a certain million players or a million players. How many players? Oh my God, a lot of million players. Bam. Thank you for over 30 million players of Call of Duty Warzone. 30 million in a couple weeks. In like 2 weeks, it reached 30 million players.
Oh my goodness.
I mentioned this in the last podcast, and I almost made it a clip because I thought it was kind of a good point. How do you feel about Warzone being free to play?
Oh my God, I love it. I feel like it's going to overthrow the whole BR scene.
I talked about it a little bit last time, but I kind of had mixed feelings on it. My initial thought was that it was a good thing. Like, the more people we can get playing Call of Duty, the better. Mm-hmm. And we have to do something to make it measure up to something like Fortnite. But it kind of leaves a weird taste in my mouth because it's like, what if you buy Call of Duty and then you only end up playing zombies most of the time? Or what if you buy Call of Duty and the only thing that you play ends up being Warzone? How does that make you feel that you spent $60 on a game and then when the only thing that you play comes out, like that game mode comes out, you spent $60 and you didn't really have to?
I mean, most people are not going to be buying Call of Duty just for Warzone or zombies. You got to think. Like, the thing is that this game has so much to offer. You have the campaign, you have Warzone now, which has 2 different things to play. You got the co-op missions that you could do, and you have multiplayer, which has a bunch of different other subcategories within it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you really got to look at what you're spending your money on, and I think it's great for Call of Duty. Just shuffle out as much as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels a little bit weird to me that I had to pay $60, and if I end up only playing Warzone and never playing online, it's just like, man, I could use that 60
But see,
bucks.
are you doing that? Like, how many people are just playing Warzone and nothing else?
Maybe. Yeah, yeah, I could see that.
And you got to think, Call of Duty, the 30 million players, they had to sell that many copies first. So like they're racking in the bucks.
Yeah, they're making a ton of money. And it blows me away how much we've gravitated more towards like free to play games, but a lot of in-game like currency stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's I feel like we've reached a balancing point for now where it's like most games aren't pay to win. It's more of just like solely aesthetics. Like,
yeah,
I was explaining this to my fiance. It was like she doesn't understand. Yeah, I know. She doesn't understand why somebody would pay money for like skins in game. And I'm like, well, if I sit here and play it for 8 hours a day, I mean, some people play like really long hours. You may as well have something cool to look at. Maybe. It's kind of like buying. It's kind of like buying like a wallpaper for your computer or something. Like some people do that.
It's kind of like buying cool clothes. If you think, how much does she spend on clothes that she doesn't need?
I feel like that's a losing argument because one of them's actual clothes and one of them's an in-game skin.
I mean,
I think she wins that battle, but no, I think Call of Duty's a really, really balanced. I think they're doing a decent job at their in-game store, keeping that up to date, keeping you having new content ready for you to buy.
Giving you more stuff. Yeah, exactly.
It is a little confusing to go through there. I go through there and I kind of get like confused. Like, should I buy the bundle or can I buy them individually? I don't know.
I mean,
that's just being nitpicky, but yeah, 30 million players for Warzone. That's really cool to see.
That's crazy.
So let's transition away.
Let's dive into it.
Dive into it. Okay, never mind. What you got in mind, brother?
I'm picking a place to land, and let's. So, for those that don't play Warzone, it's an add-on to Call of Duty where they added the Battle Royale, but they also added a new game mode, which was Plunder. Mm. How do you feel about them adding 2 game modes?
Did you watch my clip from the last podcast? It was the one you said you clicked on and you didn't realize it was our video.
I mean, not really.
That's fine. And the more I thought about it, and I went back and actually rewatched that podcast, I really think that Plunder, they should have pushed Plunder into kind of the highlight. Like, obviously, people were waiting for a BR. People can hop into a BR and kind of know what to expect in terms of like rules. Like you jump in, you gain as much loot as you can, gas is coming in, yada yada. But I feel like Plunder is one of the first kind of successful battle royale variations where it's a different kind of game mode within battle royale. You still get the big map, you still get a ton of people dropping in, but it forces you to play differently. Like there's a whole lot less pressure to sit in corners and kind of play like a turd, which most people are playing Warzone like.
Yeah, with their heartbeat sensors. And I mean, I said that on the stream about an hour ago. I was like, hey, I'm going to sit in this corner with my heartbeat sensor.
What are you doing with your hair, bud?
It's bad.
Oh my goodness. But no, I couldn't think of another game that came out with like a successful battle royale variant. I mean, we obviously we see solos, we see duos and squads, but I don't know. I feel like Plunder should be pushed in the highlight, and I want more people to play that just because it's a cool different variation. And I mentioned on the last podcast too, it's like I would like to see even other battle royales try that out and try and make these different variations, try and make different objectives within the game. And
see, like Fortnite dabbled in it. They did their like all gold, but it was still that you die, you're out.
Yeah.
Winner.
I guess you're right. They did kind of dabble in it. They had the Marvel variant or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
You play as like Thanos, but it was still at its core the same kind of objective
Yeah.
as original Fortnite came out, or Fortnite gameplay rather. But no, I really enjoy Plunder. If you haven't tried it, definitely try and play it. Try and get a full squad. Again, maybe,
That's the only way you're gonna win.
but maybe like Plunder solos is something we would want to see.
Ooh,
That would be fun.
Bro, I would run that.
I actually hopped into a Plunder game by myself without a squad fill, and I felt like I mean, it was still fun to play. It was just like, obviously 3 people on the map are going to be able to collect more money. So it's like I had no chance of winning against all these other teams, but it was still fun to play that different variation of that battle royale.
Yeah. I don't know. All in all, I like Plunder. The BR is not a sleeper though. I hated most BRs, but this one I feel like I can just play for hours.
Oh yeah, it's definitely fun. It feels very well polished. It felt like they kind of took what Blackout was in the end and kind of just built off that, which was very cool. Because Blackout, when it came out, was also very kind of clunky. It was cool because they integrated all of these different areas on the map that were nostalgic and had like Hijacked and Nuketown, and that was really cool that they did that. But it still was a very kind of clunky system to play when it first launched. But by the end of it, Blackout was a very, very well polished. And I feel like right at the very beginning of Warzone, it felt very well polished. It felt like a good BR.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess, go ahead.
Sorry, go for it.
My question for you is, what do you want to see in the future? Obviously, we saw a lot of change within Blackout's kind of lifespan, and I think they're still even throwing new stuff into Blackout. But what would you like to see for Warzone or Plunder moving forward?
So for both of them, Slacked on Seattle Serge tweeted out like a list of things that he wanted to change. And one thing that I did not agree with that he said was in Blackout, you could pick up like different attachments for your guns.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I really like that. There was just I feel like there's too much loot in Blackout.
I think so too. And I mean, you get to a point where eventually you can just quickly look at it and know what it is. But I didn't play Blackout a whole lot, so if I were to jump into a game right now, I would definitely be that guy that's like reading what each thing is on the ground.
And you can't do that in these fast-paced games.
I actually that's another thing I really like about Warzone is the looting system in general. The fact that you can find like pre-built guns, it's really cool to play with a gun. It's really cool to play with a gun that you never would use like online regularly, and it's like pre-built for you. Some of them I've had like garbage attachments. I've had like a thermal on a FAL. I mean, some of them are just trash, but I really enjoy like finding a gun. It's like, oh, this is a pre-built MP7 that I never use in League or in regular online, so I'll give it a shot. And I've found a lot of good guns that way. I really enjoy that.
Yeah, I really enjoy that too. I like the fact that they have like the Fortnite different color, different tier guns.
Yeah,
but they're not more powerful. It's just better attachments,
right?
Which I really like. So it doesn't it doesn't break the game as much as it just boosts players.
And then like the whole store thing is really cool too. If you can't find stuff that you want, so far I haven't played around with like different metas in terms of what you should buy at the store. I've kind of gone back and forth. I think that the pricing for each items is okay. I feel like some of the score streaks need to be a little bit higher. Like maybe I feel like everybody uses precision airstrikes. Like everybody, I feel like it would be much more fun if some of those really powerful elements of Warzone were a little bit harder to find. Like maybe make them like stupid expensive and very rare to find on the map. So it's like you're forced to methodically use them rather than like, oh, I'm just going to use this and go off and buy another precision airstrike.
Exactly.
Strike.
Okay, yeah, I get what you mean.
And I think that needs to happen for weapons as well. One of my main complaints so far is everybody's just killing me with a rocket launcher, dude. If I get killed by a rocket launcher in top 10 in solos one more time, I'm going to freak out. I mean, freak out. And so it's just like, I feel like rocket launchers would be cool if they're in the game, but man, just make them stupid hard to find, you know?
Yeah, I feel like you do find rocket launchers everywhere. And like, sure, you find like the rocket launchers everywhere, but I don't find a lot of like ammo for it. I don't find a lot of those RPGs.
Yeah, I just think it would make it more fun to kind of methodically take down the guy that has the rocket launcher. If you see him using it and be like, "Oh my god, okay, be careful of that guy. He has a rocket launcher. Maybe we should go around here, flank him, and try and take him down."
Yeah,
and rather than all 6 on each team have a rocket launcher, just start blowing smoke up the other. Yeah,
because like this isn't Fortnite where you have to destroy different buildings and someone can just build it right back. I don't know.
Exactly.
I feel like that's enough on Warzone. If you want to check out more, go watch the podcast before this.
No, I think it's cool. That's why I like doing the podcast with you. It's cool to bounce different ideas off each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can move on. Let's talk a little bit more about the Call of Duty League. As I mentioned last podcast, the virus has made everybody close down all of their different home matches.
Everything.
And currently on the Call of Duty League page, which I didn't realize this. I thought it was still going to continue. It makes sense that they're going to do this, but I thought it was going to continue like the same schedule. It was just going to be played online. But
so I have a little dry erase calendar here, and usually I write down when COD weekends are, and I just noticed that today. I was like, wait, so there's not going to be COD this weekend?
I don't know when I checked this. I think it was sometime this week, but yeah, I thought it was going to just continue business as usual, just online. But it makes sense because they need time to figure out how they're going to do everything. They need time to figure out different like rules. I'm sure there's a lot of mechanical stuff that they need to figure out. There was a lot of like game pauses this year live. If someone had an issue, they could just pause the game immediately, which was super cool. And I don't know if they're able to do that online. And then, figure out how they're going to do like casters. There's just a lot.
Is Maven just going to be at his desk in his underwear and a suit jacket?
Maybe. If he's in his underwear, that's a little scary because when Maven gets hyped up, he'd probably stand up and show his boxers a little bit. That'd be kind of funny. But yeah, so there's just a ridiculous amount that Call of Duty needs to figure out. And man, I would hate to work at the Call of Duty League this past year. Because imagine, they announced the Call of Duty League and then you have 3 or 4 months to figure out how to make all these packages, there's so much to figure out. And then the league gets started and then immediately it's like, okay, scratch everything you've done. We need to do it all online. And it's like,
and it sucks for the owners because they're funneling in millions of dollars.
Yeah. Oh,
good Lord.
The amount of money that was literally thrown down the drain this season is astonishing. It's just sickening how much money is going to waste on venues, and I'm sure they had to hire just X, Y, and Z of every security, literally everything. So yeah, if I was a team in the Call of Duty League, hang on, and now I just had a thought pop into my head. So do you remember? Well, I'm kind of thinking as I go here, but Nadeshot said that the Call of Duty League would be a bad investment. Do you remember that video?
Yes.
So for those of you that haven't seen it, we get done with Black Ops 4, and Nadeshot, the CEO of 100 Thieves, says that he will not be buying a franchise spot for 100 Thieves. People were speculating that they were going to buy another Los Angeles spot or another spot in California. I think there was talk about them possibly being like Las Vegas. But he came out with a video saying, I just don't think it's a good investment. It's too high of a buy-in for the first year of Call of Duty League, which it was in terms of Overwatch or I guess like CS:GO and those bigger games are a bad example just because they're so massive. But Overwatch is a good example. I think it was only like it was in like the teens and millions of dollars, like maybe $11 million to buy into the Overwatch League. And I think for Call of Duty League it was like $25 million, like more than double it. And he basically just said, no, we're like, as a company, we're too young. We can't drop that amount of money on a Call of Duty League. It's a bad investment. So I watched that and I was like, man, I mean, at the time there were a lot of question marks on how this league was going to go. And after watching the first like 4 weekends, I would have disagreed with him. I think that it was a great investment for these teams that got in, can get in early, help establish the Call of Duty League from the ground up, rather than just buying your way in and trying to make a name for yourself within the league later on. But now that everything's canceled, it's completely 180 back to nadeshot's side.
Future.
Oh my God, yeah, he saved so much money not buying into the Call of Duty League. Oh
yeah,
man.
it's crazy.
So I wonder if that's gonna. What's that?
I said I just feel bad for everyone that funneled their money into it.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are major organizations, so I think they'll be able to bounce back from it. And I don't think it was a total loss either. I think we're gonna make it through. Obviously, I think this is gonna push a lot more people to watch online. Maybe. You know, I know that Huntsman said they sold like 7,000 tickets. So I guarantee you that everybody that bought those 7,000 tickets is going to be watching, from home that weekend,
online,
whatever weekend it would have been. So there's going to be a lot of people watching online. That means you're going to get more from ads, pretty much.
But see, that's the other thing where that puts everyone under the CDL staff in like a lot of stress, is because if you're going to have that many people watching, so how many did we average out to just like last weekend? Do you remember the viewer count online?
That was one of the points that we had a couple podcasts ago. The Los Angeles weekend, it was significantly lower than previous weekends. Los Angeles, it kind of teetered around like 25 to 30,000 people. And then I think it spiked at like maybe 50,000. Whereas like launch weekend or like a tournament weekend, it got up to like 80 or 90,000.
So let's just say like on average, you're going to, or say it was like that launch weekend and it was online, you're going to be having over 100,000 people watching like through their screens, not in person. You can't have anything go wrong or else there's going to be zero viewership. Like if the broadcast has a little glitch in it, it's going to shut it completely down and no one will be able to watch.
That's a good point. Plus,
Corona or not.
Plus, what are they going to... One of our major complaints about the CDL so far has been the downtime in between matches. If there's a lot of downtime in between matches, and you don't have an excuse now because like nobody's there, you don't have to set up. You could just hop right into another match. I mean, if there's a lot of downtime, yeah, I see a lot of people logging off for sure.
Another thing that popped into my head, what's going to go on with the Challenger series?
I think at this point...
Is it chalked?
I think at this point it might be. You got to think how many teams come and play. I think there's like 100 teams that come and play in the Challenger League. That's a lot of online matches you got.
Like there's a lot of money in the background that we don't even know about that everyone's losing. So I don't know. This coronavirus, man, it's doing something. I can't find any toilet paper. I can't watch COD.
Yeah. Man, yeah, I don't know about that Challenger League. I wonder how much money they allocated towards that Challenger League, and at what point do they just take their losses and say, we got to prioritize the Pro League?
Yeah.
And be like, we lost.
That's what they're going to do. Already.
Probably. Yeah. That stinks, man, because there was a lot of... I mean, I don't want to say a lot of hope. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a lot of potential within that Challenger League. I think it was almost shaping up to be like a league you could watch in its own. You know what I mean? Like, I think that the next step that they being the Call of Duty League needed to make was just airing it, like having a second channel where it's just dedicated to the Challenger League. I think that could have succeeded eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
So that stinks if they have to if they have to chalk it. Well, but yeah, we'll be sure and keep our eyes out for that and let you guys know what happens there.
I've been looking for it and I can't find anything.
I'm assuming Call of Duty is going to come out with like a big statement here soon. I'm assuming that they need to, right now they're just scrambling. I mean, they're probably trying to figure out if people can work from home at whatever corporate office they're working in. They just need some time to kind of get their feet under them, and then they'll come out with either like a video or something, like some sort of statement that says, this is what we're going to be doing. I know it sucks, but everything about this sucks, so let's just try and push through it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I feel like eventually, as long as people can watch the games and the players can play the games fairly, everyone will be happy.
Yeah, I mean, we could transition to that too. What does this mean from a pro league, like a team standpoint? Like, Hastro just tweeted out that he bought a giant server just for the Dallas Empire, who Dallas already has pretty decent internet out there in Texas. Whereas like people that are based out of California is known to have really bad internet. So it's like, at this point, is it becoming like pay to win or pay to have a slight advantage? Like, which with these pros that are all ridiculously good, they can spot a slight advantage from a mile away.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely going to be an advantage. Teams are definitely going to, like, they're not making like player changes, I don't think. But I think like how they perform is drastically going to change.
And it becomes a thing where it's like, I mentioned this on the last podcast too. It's like Huntsmen are based out of like the Dallas Fort Worth area, but Formal's based out of California. So at what point do they start moving players halfway across the country for the rest of the season? That would suck if you were Formal to be kind of have no other option but to go away from your house, to go away from the place that you practice in, that you feel most comfortable in, just because your internet might not hold up as well.
Let's see, that's a big decision for him, because he could easily, like, I don't see him saying no, that I'm not going to move out there for a little bit. I see him probably staying with Seth. But if not, man, Bo's got to pick up the sniper.
Well, and it's not just Huntsman too. It's all these teams. I know that Seattle Serge is very spread out as well. I know Karma's based out of like Texas somewhere, I believe. I mean, just every team has players based out of somewhere else. So it's like,
Optic has Bruce up in Canada.
Right. Would it make a difference? And that proposes a whole new set of issues. Is he even able to come to the States right now? I know that Canada.
No, Canada closed their borders.
So it's, I mean, at what point is it not fair then to move people within the U.S. to have teams be in one central location and have Dashy stuck in like Canada? I mean, it's just a crazy mess that the Call of Duty League has to figure out, and they have to figure it out fast.
All right, bringing it all in. Is this season chalked? Is it
No.
No, like, does it matter? Like, does it matter anymore with everything that's going on? You know what I mean? Like,
no, I'm gonna say it's not chalked. I'm gonna say it does matter because there's still money on the table for these teams. Now, will we look back on this a year or two from now and be like, oh yeah, that was just kind of a dumpster fire of a year. We don't really count a whole lot of those, but they won anyway.
Yeah, like World War II.
Yeah, I mean, World War II is kind of legitimate, I guess. It was just the online stuff that was spotty.
Bad game.
But it's like, I think that they're going to figure something out. I mean, at very least, I mean, people still run online tournaments all the time. Yeah. So at very least, you could just cut the production quality in a half or in a quarter even, and just make it so you can watch the matches. We don't need any fancy like room with casters. We could have casters just like you and me in our houses. Like, at very least, they could throw something like that together, and then pros are just gonna have to figure out what the best way is for each individual for their internet.
I don't know.
It sucks.
There's a lot of hurdles that they're gonna have to come over. Like, especially how are they going to get the gameplay? That's what you and I are trying to figure. How do we get my gameplay remotely to you, and how can you broadcast it? They're in that same situation.
I don't know. I know that we've had online tournaments in the past, though.
Yeah.
So maybe maybe Call of Duty buys like its own server, and then they play to that server. I don't
They
know.
connect through like VPN.
I really don't know how like the mechanics of all
I-
that works. I wish I
don't know.
did. I find that stuff kind of interesting.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
we'll keep our eyes open, and yeah, like I said, I guarantee you, it's just a matter of time before Call of Duty comes out and says like, "Have no fear," or "There's nothing to fear but fear itself."
Yeah.
They'll do something.
God, you're done. Don't try to flex any knowledge that you don't have.
I tried.
Staying on the COD topic, I just thought about this while we were talking. When is ranked play gonna come out?
I don't think it will.
Good Lord.
I don't think it will. I think that they came out with the CDL playlist, which is a step in the right direction. At least we can play without dumb.
But see, that's the thing. Mine doesn't even work.
What do you mean?
Won't let me.
What do you mean?
So if I put on the CDL playlist, I click all three, search and destroy, hardpoint, and dom, and then clear everything else out and search for a match, it'll put everything else back in.
You have to press like select this playlist. There's a different button you have to press.
Oh.
You set this as like your primary playlist. Idiot.
Okay.
But yeah, they released that playlist, so at least we can get something close. But I mean, the reason I liked Black Ops 4 League play so much is because I felt like I was playing what I was watching with the pros. I feel like that's the ultimate goal. If for rank play to come out is to make you feel like you're playing just like the pros, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the CDL playlist that they came out with doesn't necessarily do that as well as Black Ops 4 did.
No, definitely not. I want to be able to play against kids my skill level.
Yeah.
So like in ranked play in BO4, I was second from like the top one.
Yeah.
So I was in like the top 13 or percent or whatever it was. And like I was playing against some really good kids. And like I was playing against people in like the amateur bracket and like just seeing how I stick up to them. And then I go into these CDL playlist games and it's just kind of dumb. So I'm playing with kids that are level 3 on my team and just getting swamped.
So the reason I said that though is, I feel like they should come out with some sort of ranked play, but that was another thing I mentioned, was like, I'm waiting for the day that Call of Duty comes out in September, October, November, whatever Call of Duty usually comes out in. And it comes out as a full 100% completed game. There's no like waiting around, like, when's this going to drop? When are we going to have this? Like, I'm waiting for the day where it's like, oh, we have a campaign. We got zombies, these maps. We've got ranked play. We've got a BR. It's got everything.
Is that going to happen though? No, I don't think so.
I don't think it's going to happen when they keep making games every year. I will wait. I will play Modern Warfare for another year if that means that the next Call of Duty you come out with is a full-fledged game. Because then, like, if games come out, like Call of Duty is launched and the game itself is like a 6 out of 10, and then you add like Warzone and it bumps it up to like a 7 out of 10 game. What if you released a full-fledged game that had everything you could ever want, and that makes it like a 7 game at the very beginning or 7.5 game, and then you release stuff on top of that, more skins, more buy-ins, more battle passes. You have more time to do like different seasons within the ranked play, things like that, and that bumps it up to like a 9.5 game. I think that would just make the community a lot happier and a lot stronger.
Yeah, I don't know. I can definitely see them holding off on Call of Duty for another year or two, but there's already been leaks for Black Ops 5 and Modern Warfare 2 remastered.
Oh, I don't think they're going to stop making games every year for one simple reason. It's the same reason they will not make a new Elder Scrolls, because they keep making Skyrim for different platforms and everybody keeps buying them. They keep making Call of Duties every single year and everyone buys them. So to them, if they're just looking at their numbers, they're like, we're doing pretty dang good, man. Like we've been selling games left and right. They must love us. Like, I don't think they're going to stop. But at the same time, at one point I thought the same about the Assassin's Creed series, and then they took a break for a minute and then came out with Odyssey, and it was really good.
What I think that they should do if they want to go on this remastered like remastered kick, maybe come out with like a new game next year, remaster one.
So it's like a alternating kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And that could work too, because I thought about like, if you're not going to come out with a game every year, you have 3 different studios working on these games at all times. So, I mean, but I'm pretty sure there was a different company that made the Modern Warfare Remastered, the one we already have.
Oh, yeah.
It was a completely different company. So like that would make sense. You could allocate the resources of those 2 companies. Was it Activision and it's not Sledgehammer anymore. It's Infinity Ward. Oh, or you're right. Treyarch and Infinity Ward.
Something like that.
Something like that. If those 2 companies kind of combined forces and made like different aspects of the game, and then the other company was working on remastered, so that every year it was like super killer game, remastered game, maybe a year off.
Those companies don't want to split profits. They don't want to join together.
Well, different developers make different parts of games all the time.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm pretty sure this Modern Warfare had a different company to specifically make like the lighting mechanic. That's why this game looks so stinking good.
Whoever did their sound needs to be fired.
It's still so loud. It's still so... I feel like I'm in the middle of a war zone.
Footsteps.
Or God forbid you're in a helicopter, dude. It feels like I'm actually in a helicopter ready to be lifted.
Or if there's one of the airstrikes going over your head. Oh my! I'm like,
my house is being bombed.
I'm like, what's going on?
My house is being bombed. That's what it sounds like. But I don't know. Circling back, I think they're going to come out with a league play, but it's just going to not be as good. At this point, people are just kind of over it. Like, oh, there's a league play now. Like, cool, I guess I'll play it. Whereas it needs to come out and make people hyped to play it. I think that they should take a page out of like, I've been watching a lot of League of Legends streamers recently.
Yeah.
And League of Legends people are proud of their rank. Or Rainbow Six Siege, they are proud to be in Diamond. They're proud to be plat in League of Legends or something. Like, if you're in gold, it's like, or bronze, it's like, oh, dude, I got to play this game a lot more and get a lot better. Yeah. And in turn, it makes more players and it makes them play for longer. So I think that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, I think maybe Call of Duty's on that grind where, like, hey, let's just put out as much content for people to play for another year. Like, I think that's maybe what they're pushing for, because they, like, you have the campaign, you have both Warzone aspects, you have the co-op missions, you have regular multiplayer, ground war, gunfight. Like, I don't know. Maybe add another moneymaker into it, but then I don't want microtransactions.
I just think that they're not ready to make Call of Duty a competitive game. I think I think they see their audience as mostly casual players. Mm-hmm. When I feel like the core community of Call of Duty are very competitive people. They're either competitive people or they're like achievement hunters that love grinding to get, like, what was the game you could get level 1,000 on? Was it Black Ops 3?
Yes.
Yeah. They love to get those achievements. They love grinding for Dark Matter or Damascus or whatever it is. Like, but I feel like a lot of the core community is very competitive and they would really like to see. Whereas other games, I think it's the opposite. I think League thinks most people that play that game is competitive and they're trying to make League like a casual player game when it's not.
Yeah.
If you're a new player trying
to brutal.
If you're a new player trying to play League, good luck. You are about to get torched like you have never been torched before, dude. They are hardcore about their League of Legends.
You think Modern Warfare 2 was toxic?
Oh, I mean, I've never felt more demoralized in my life than when I try to play League. And it's by like 12-year-olds, man. I mean, they're like, what are you doing? Like, why would you push that? And I'm like, I don't know.
These 12-year-olds are sitting here doing their alt, hitting their inhaler, like, come on, guys.
They're like, they're using terms I didn't know existed. They're like, why aren't you CSing bot lane? You should be freezing and then pushing it. I'm like,
well, she's like, what is ganking?
I'm a Call of Duty player, man. All I know is aim and shoot. I aim and shoot.
I have auto or I have aim assist.
Yeah. So it's like Call of Duty needs to understand how people play their games and how people want to play their games. And they're close. Yeah. I mean, they're close. I feel like the closest one is Treyarch when they make Black Ops games. That's why I had a good League play, even though we waited a long time for it. I don't know.
Yo, I miss Black Ops 4.
It was a good game. It was a very good
fun game.
It felt very, even though it had a lot, like with the specialists and everything, it felt very like tactical rather than just like, I don't know, like they didn't focus a lot on like the light textures and how maps looked and interacted. It was down to its core, just like a shooter. Like
if you shoot this person, like that's what it needs to be.
It felt good. It felt good to play that game.
A couple of my buddies and I were talking. What would you think if they came out with another jetpack game?
That's a suicide. I mean, mission on their part.
What do you think?
I've thought about this when we were in the jetpack era. For those of you that don't know, maybe you hopped in Call of Duty within the past couple years. We're talking about AW, Advanced Warfare was the first one to start it, where you could just jetpack through the air like you're playing Jetpack King or what was it? Subway Surfer? No. Isn't it called Jetpack King, that old school like iPhone game?
Oh no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Jetpack Hero, something.
Jetpack Joyride.
Jetpack Joyride. Yeah, so you could fly around the map like it was in Jetpack Joyride. It was the same in Black Ops 3 and Infinite Warfare. Mm-hmm. And I thought about this. I was like, I like the idea of having some sort of verticality on a map, but not with jetpacks. I don't think it should be on command is the thing. I think they need to...
Do you think Modern Warfare did it right then with the buildings?
Maybe... And it would be very difficult to design a functional level like this. But one of the games that I think does it really well is like Assassin's Creed. You can walk up to those things and kick them, and then it's like, zzz, and then you get right up there.
Yeah.
Even in Modern Warfare does a pretty decent job of it in terms of like you can hop on the elevator and get all the way up the map. I think adding more elements like that would make it more interesting to get around the map and make them fun to use. Like the elevator,
like map changing elements.
Maybe
say I called in like an airstrike on this building. Next thing I know, that building's flattened.
Now we're getting more towards like Battlefield. I'm saying more just like fun to use different elements. I'm a big fan of futuristic Call of Duties. I know people hate them.
Yeah,
but I really like them. And what if, like in Halo, they had the
what? Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. I think okay. Yeah. What was that?
You like ran up to it. And
yeah,
you know what I'm talking about, though.
Yeah,
you can get from one, and some of them like launched you across the map.
Oh, I know.
So it's like that to me would be more fun if we could add a sense of verticality, but it was like map interactive. It wasn't like on command. Okay. Wherever you want, you could just fly up in the air, jetpack joyride style.
I kind of like the grapple in BO4.
Grapples, and I mean, again, that's teetering more towards the on command side. But yeah, I love like the specialist, and if you want to make grapple a specialist, that's cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a thing where like a field upgrade for your team, you could place down one of the
yeah.
and that's literally what it's called. Like your is ready. Like
could you imagine in BR or Plunder, like these kids are just sitting on top of this roof. You're like, yo, let's go. You finally sneak all around, and you're not running up some stairs. No, you put down a little and then you up on them, bro. Like, could you imagine, like, you're sitting there sniping. Hold on. You're sitting there sniping, right? What Moisty said, hold on, I'm sniping.
Yeah.
And the next thing I know, like, here I am. Could you imagine?
He was so aggressive. He's like, you put down a
But still, like, that would be cool. I like that idea.
Oh my god. But all jokes aside, though, you see what I'm saying? Like, I think that would make the game a lot better. Oh my god, that made me... I almost pooped my pants, man. That was so funny.
Watch out, you don't have any toilet paper left.
He said,
like, how cool would that be?
no, I think it'd be super cool.
Do you like my little sniper flashlight, too?
Yeah, that was funny. That was funny. It sucks in Warzone. They have, like, light posts. I don't know if you've seen them yet.
Oh,
But they look like sniper scopes, so I'll like run out a door and be like, nope, and dip back inside, and then I realize it's just a lamppost.
One thing I noticed was I was up in like a sniper's tower, and my game was like trying to load a little bit, and there was like a little flash here, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm about to get destroyed.
Yeah. Man, that's some funny stuff, man. But yeah, I mean, bringing it back to, I don't even know what we were talking about. We got so off track. I genuinely don't know. We talked about Call of Duty League for a little bit. I let's bring it back to that to kind of round out this podcast. What do you want to see moving forward? In a perfect world, you know, the disease we'd snap its fingers and the disease would be Thanos and out, and then we would resume business as usual, and then we'd go to Chicago and see our boys throw down.
That'd be fun.
So other than that perfect world, what would you like to see moving forward? What do they need to do to continue having good viewership, and what do we need to do to salvage the rest of the Call of Duty League season?
Honestly, one, in general, I just want to be able to watch the games. I want it to not, in a perfect world, I want it to not be dependent on Wi-Fi.
Meaning what? You don't want it to be online?
Well, I mean, like you said, it would be hard to get, or say I have my team, or like a couple of people on my team here, and then like 2 or 3 other people on the other side of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're at a disadvantage there.
Right.
Maybe do like a pro league thing like last year, but then again, like, according to the CDC, that's too many people.
I think that is the best case. Well, the second best case scenario for the Call of Duty League for the rest of the year is to do exactly what you just said. For people that didn't watch Black Ops 4 last year, they flew everybody out. They basically had a LAN event with no audience.
Mm-hmm.
Was it less exciting and a little bit awkward at times? Because like they would get done and you could hear people's like conversations, like pro players' conversations. Like the pro players would just shout to the desks and they would like, but it was kind of cool to watch. I think that was the best case scenario for them, is to do some sort of LAN thing where they just, and that's
to be fair between all teams.
And that's the most cost-effective way to do it from a CDL standpoint. At that point, you just rent out a studio space for 6 more months, 10 more months.
Yeah.
6 more months.
And I mean that. Oh, what the
heck just happened?
My computer went into standby.
Well,
no, I feel like that would be a good idea. Can they do it?
It just depends.
I hope.
Depends on the virus thing.
Yeah. Other than that, I got nothing. That's my answer to your question. And add the blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I think my expectations for the Call of Duty League is just be as transparent as possible. I think that as annoying as it is, but it's nice to get all these different updates from these different companies. My email has just been spam of just like COVID-19 updates. Our company will be closed.
You don't understand, bro. Try working in a hospital.
But at the same time, if it was a company that I really cared about and used a lot, I think that I would really appreciate just having an update, even.
Yeah.
So just being transparent with us moving forward. If you have an idea of what you're going to do, like just give us something. Like, we're working towards trying to do this. If it doesn't work out, we're going to try and do this.
Yeah.
That would be enough for me. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm ready to stand by. And the second that you do something, I'm ready to hop right back in and start watching again.
Yeah. I'm ready though. I want this to go down.
We'll see.
I'm ready to watch more Call of Duty. It's been a second.
Last question: who do you think's going to dominate online?
Dallas and Atlanta.
I'm gonna have
no doubt.
Yeah,
I feel like it's gonna be boring to watch. Ooh. I'll say that right now. I'm gonna be bored.
Ooh. It just sucks, man. I mean, the thing that keeps me going when I watch these tournaments is seeing player reactions. The second that a match gets done, I love that they switch cameras onto teams. And like,
yeah,
the opening weekend, I mean, I'll never forget it. The opening weekend when Huntsman played Dallas, very first game. And when they
we need to play that clip again.
And when Scump and Formal just stand up and absolutely ream into Dallas Empire, you and I were losing our minds. And that's what makes watching Call of Duty so phenomenal, is just watching that. And you know that there's like no bad blood between them necessarily. It was just all for show and like to get that feeling out of them. But
I don't think that was for show, man. Scump was kind of tweaking.
I mean, it was just like, I don't know. At the end of the day, that's what makes me absolutely love watching competitive Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just taken away. So hopefully we'll see how it goes moving forward. Again, we'll try and keep you updated as much as possible. In the meantime, we are still planning to do this podcast every Sunday, business as usual. We might start diving into other games. I know we had a list of other things to talk about for this podcast, but I kind of want to save them for next week just in case we don't have Call of Duty things to talk about. Mm-hmm. We do want to talk about like upcoming games. We have a lot of Valorant.
Well, that's what I say.
Valorant. Project A. We have a lot of Project A notes that we want to touch on. Doom just came out. Animal Crossing just came out. If you're actually 5 years old.
Animal Crossing. Oh,
I've never played Animal Crossing, and
Pokimane right now is playing Animal Crossing with almost 20,000 people watching her.
Okay, well, Pokimane could hit start live stream and just sit here and probably get 30K.
Yeah, you're right.
But I don't know. I'm very particular on what games I like to play, and Animal Crossing is just not my cup of tea. But at the same time, Minecraft's not my cup of tea, and it's got billions of dollars behind it. Just ridiculously successful.
What if I told you that Animal Crossing has the most viewership on Twitch right now?
Does it really?
At 208,000 viewers.
No way. Hang on. We're going to... So we definitely have a lot... Oh, no. Come back.
Behind COD, just chatting.
Pokemon's got 19,000 people. Animal Crossing has 208,000. Yo, Call of Duty's second?
Yeah.
By not a whole lot. 194,000 viewers. Hang on a second.
Fortnite.
Take a gander at this.
God. Animal Crossing has almost 100,000 more viewers than Fortnite.
It's got almost double the amount of viewers.
Almost, yeah.
But hang on here. We have another talking point. Call of Duty Warzone 2nd. That hasn't been like that in a minute.
Hell, everyone's playing Warzone, bro.
I know.
Everyone.
They do have even Maniac streaming Warzone right now. Wow.
Bro, yeah, he's practicing, bro. He's getting subbed.
Yeah, I guess there is a big chunk of big names playing Call of Duty right now, but that's really cool to see.
Jess is doing ASMR.
Oh man, it's lit on Twitch. Very cool to see. Well, I'm happy for them. I'm glad that Call of Duty's finally getting some success. We haven't seen them at the top of Twitch since like Blackout.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. All right, well, yeah, we'll talk about other video game stuff. We'll try and come a little bit prepared because that's venturing out into a different realm than Call of Duty. So, but thanks all for bearing with us. Mork, I'm glad you're back. Glad you made it back safe.
Me too, bro. I'm ready to play some COD.
Yeah, we'll be playing a lot of Call of Duty this week. Probably streaming at least Tuesday, Thursday as normal. And then potentially more than that.
And if everyone could bug Moisty to get all the files over to my computer, that would be great, because then I'll be bringing you guys so much content.
Message received.
Good.
Okay. All right. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on...
Your mic is being weird. I don't know if it's on both sides or not.
And follow us on Twitch. We'll see you guys later.
Peace.
Peace. Bye.